Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Shri Radha Govinda, Krishna Balaram Nargira, Shri Gonitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. There it is. No. What's this? 31, yeah. Got it. Matrayavacha Evam Haranyaka. Oh, sorry. Evam Hiranyakshamashaya Vikramam Sasadayitva Hari Adi Sukara Jagamalokam sva akanditochavam Samitita pushkara vishtaradibi Matrayuvacha Ivam hiranyakshamashaya vikramam Sasadi yitva hari adi sukara Jagamalokam sa akandito shavam Samitita pushkara vishtaradibi Matravacha Ivam yaksham ashaya vikramam Sasadhit Bahari Adi Sukara Jigamalokam Sarakadito Shavam Samidita Pushkara Vishtaradibi Matravacha Ivam hiraksham ashaya vikramam Sasadahit Bahari Adi Sukara Gamalokam Sarakandito Shavam Samidita Pushkara Vishtaradibi Matravacha Ivam hiranyakshamashaya sikramam Sasadhit Bahari Adi Pukara Gamalokam Sarakandito Shavam Samidita Pushkara Vishtaradibi It's already. You want to try? Huh? Matra Vacha. Sri Maitreya said, Evam, thus, Hiranyaksham, Hiranyaksha, Ashai Vikramam, very powerful, Sa, the Lord, Sarahitva, after killing, Hari, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adisukara, the origin of the boar species, Jagama, returned, Lokam, to his abode, Swam, own, Akandita, uninterrupted, Utsavam, festival, Samititaha, being praised, Pushkara Vishtara, lotus seat by Lord Brahma, whose seat is a lotus, Adibi, and the others. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation, Sri Maitreya continued, After thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there was always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma. The Lord is spoken of herein as the origin of the boar species. As stated in the Vedanta Sutra, the Absolute Truth is the origin of everything. Therefore it is to be understood that all 8,400,000 species of bodily forms originate from the Lord, who is always Adi, or the beginning. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses the Lord as Adyam, or the original. Similarly, in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord is addressed as Adi Purusham, the original person. Indeed, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself declares, Matsavam Parvatati, from me everything proceeds. The Lord assumed the shape of a boar to kill the demon Hiranyaksha, pick up the earth from the Garbha ocean. Thus he became Adi Sukara, the original boar. In the material world, a boar or pig is considered most abominable. But the Adi Sukara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was not treated as an ordinary boar. Even Lord Brahma and other demigods praise the Lord's form as a boar. This verse confirms the statement in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears as he is from his original abode for the sake of killing the miscreants, saving the devotees by killing the demon Hiranyaksha. He fulfilled his promise to kill the demons and always protect the demigods, headed by Brahma. The statement that the Lord returned to his own abode indicates that he has his own particular transcendental residence. Since he is full of all energies, he is all-pervasive in spite of his residing in Goloka Vrindavan. Just as the sun, although situated in a particular place within the universe, is present by its sunshine throughout the universe. Similarly, the Lord has his particular abode in which to reside. He is all-pervasive. The impersonalists accept one aspect of the Lord's feature, the all-pervasive aspect, but they cannot understand his localized situation in his transcendental abode, where he is always engaged in fully transcendental pastimes. Especially mentioned in this verse is the word akandito shavam. Utsava means pleasure. Whenever some function takes place to express happiness, it is called utsava. Utsava, the expression of complete happiness, is always present in Vaikunthas, the abode of the Lord, who is worshipable even by demigods like Brahma, to say nothing of others, less important entities such as human beings. The Lord descends from his abode to this world, therefore he is called Avatar, which means one who descends. Sometimes Avatar is understood to refer to an incarnation who assumes a material form of flesh and bone, but actually Avatar refers to one who descends from the higher regions. The Lord's abode is situated far above the material sky, and he descends from his higher position Thus he is called Avatar. Yes. Now, Prabhupada quotes this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, that I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Krishna says, everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The Prabhupada explains in that purport that one who studies this Vedic knowledge perfectly understands Krishna is the Supreme Lord himself, the original source of everything that exists in creation. And of course this includes all species of life, all demigods, he's the fountainhead of all incarnations. So knowing this, such a person becomes firmly fixed in loving devotional service, this bhakti yoga process, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, who is the Lord's representative. So it is said, Prabhupada explains, that such loving devotional service, it gradually leads to full surrender and then elevation into the highest perfectional stage of bhakti yoga, which is pure loving devotional service to Krishna. Now it's very interesting. I mean, a lot of people, they wonder about this, what is the origin of everything? What is the cause? I mean, generally a philosophically minded person, Prabhupada mentions this in the Bhagavad Gita, he wants to know about these things. He wants to know about the origin of creation, how life came about, how the planetary systems came into existence, how various species of life came into existence. And it's a big mystery for most people. And when we look at this universe, it's incredible. We just see so much intelligent design. I mean, so much, you could say, fine-tuning. So much so that the conditions of universe are sufficient to permit life. If conditions were just a little different, life could not possibly exist here in this universe. So this strongly suggests that someone has arranged things in a certain way, so everything just works nicely and systematically. Yes. I mean, the human body itself, is just an incredibly finely tuned machine with its trillions and trillions of atoms. It is said that it's recorded there's something like 1 octillion atoms in a human body. That's 10 to the 26 zeros. Atoms that make up this body, and all moving in perfect symbiotic precision. And it's been estimated there may be as many as 200 trillion molecules in a single cell, all executing thousands of coordinated reactions with precise timing and function. I mean, many scientists and physicists, they talk about the fine-tunings of the universe regarding, the physical workings of the universe, like gravity and things like that. But they don't really speak so much about the conception of a creator, or someone who has created all these incredible fine-tuning. Yes. We say, if there's intelligent design, there must be a designer, an intelligence or an intelligent being behind this fine-tuning that makes everything work so perfectly and so systematically. The more we discover and think about the details of this physical world, the more we will realize that everything is purposely designed. Nothing happens by chance. Everything is so purposely designed. And of course, as far as molecular evolution goes, in which scientists present theories that simple chemicals will lead to complex molecules and finally life. And we talk about, how, living entities, they crawled out of the primordial ocean, they developed legs, they climbed trees, and they developed color TVs. Yes. It's been accepted by many as right, especially molecular biologists and evolutionists today. So, but how did this evolution occur? What force compelled it to occur? They say there's missing links. Also, there's biologists who confess that they do not understand how life came about. Considering, the most primitive cell, the most simple cell, may require at least 700 micromolecules to exist. How such a complex structure may have come together definitely brings up the possibility of the existence of a supreme intelligence or creator behind this ordered universe. It just seems that the discoveries of science in the last 50 years have pointed something beyond this universe as the ultimate cause. Because the reality is no one knows why this universe started. No one knows why it's finely tuned. No one knows how life first started. And no one knows how the structure of the first cell started. So all these things, they point strongly to an element beyond nature. Either a supreme creator, some unknown spiritual force. Therefore, many scientists, realizing there's no explanation for these things, have actually prompted them to look more into like a philosophical understanding. Just kind of figure it out. So although we see science and religion are different disciplines, they can be connected in the study of the science of life and the ultimate meaning of the universe. Because in Bhakti Yoga, we learn in our Bhakti school, Bhakti tradition, we learn that there's a realm of knowledge, a higher wisdom, which is just beyond scientific knowledge and rationality. And this knowledge is inconceivable and it's also mystical because it cannot be understood simply by empiric philosophical speculation, experimental knowledge, material intelligence, philosophy. This knowledge can only be understood by one who follows the process given by the bona fide spiritual master. And then what happens? One receives direct enlightenment within the heart. Yes. If we want to know something of the unlimited, Prabhupada mentions in one purport, we need to be enlightened by the unlimited, or those connected to the unlimited Supreme Lord. So to help guide us and educate us, we've been given these Vedic literatures by the Supreme Lord, and we're continually advised to try and understand them in association of the Vedic academics, or the Vaishnavacharyas. They've been specifically empowered by the Lord to bless us with genuine spiritual understanding. From the Vedas we learn that we are a soul. Beyond this body and mind, there is a soul. And as a soul, we are a particular energy of the Lord, known as the Jiva Shakti, which is in essence a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, eternally. It means the Supreme Lord manifests and expands himself into innumerable expansions. And we have the primary expansions, the Vishnu Tattva, the plenary, the incarnations of the Lord. And we have the secondary expansions, which are us living entities. And sometimes us living entities were compared to small atomic atomic fragmental parts of the Supreme Lord, or atomic sparks of the rays of the Lord. And we all have our personal individuality, and we have this form of minute independence. So it is mentioned that we are qualitatively one, as the same with the Lord in spiritual essence, but quantitatively we are infinitesimal, where the Lord is infinite, unlimited. So we have each of us have our own personal individuality and this personal form of minute independence. And by misuse of that independence, we learn from these Vedic literatures that we become conditioned souls who are dominated by the material modes of nature. And by proper use of our independence, we get free from the material condition by engaging ourselves in loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And of course, the Vedas teach us that we have an eternal spiritual identity beyond this body, beyond this mind. This means we have an eternal spiritual body, an eternal spiritual form. And when we finally achieve perfection in our spiritual consciousness, we can actually return to the spiritual world and once again serve the Lord directly out of pure love, using our eternal spiritual form. So until we gain this liberation, we keep coming back to this world and being reborn in material bodies. Therefore, it's highly recommended in these Vedic literatures that we must discover the purpose, the vision, the plan of the Supreme Lord behind this wonderful creation, and learn how to act in accordance to his divine plan. Therefore, our bhakti scriptures advise us to wake up and realize the temporary nature of this world, the temporary nature of this human body, which is meant for understanding the science of self-realization. So we're highly recommended to prepare ourselves in this life for the best next life, to return to our real home in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God, by cultivating our love and understanding of him. Because according to our desires, our words, our deeds, how we live our life, it shapes our consciousness throughout our life. And our consciousness at the end of our life determines where we'll take our next birth. So, but Krishna promises us this: if we cultivate our love and understanding of him in this life, at the time of death, what will happen? We simply close our eyes for a short time, just nod off, like sometimes you do in class. We just nod off, and then you open your eyes again, and you're in this most amazing, wonderful, beautiful spiritual realm. Wow. And everyone's there. Krishna's there, and all Krishna's eternal associates are there. And you can live there forever in this beautiful spiritual body, never have to take birth again in the material world and suffer this birth, death, old age, and disease. This means that when the soul finally takes a birth in a human form of life, it's a chance. It's a special chance. An opportunity to transcend this cycle of birth and death and gain liberation, freedom, and eternal happiness. However, if we don't make the effort to do that, to re-establish our eternal loving relationship with Krishna, we'll be forced to take birth again among the 8,400,000 species of life. In this sense, we understand that we create our own destinies by the choices we make in life. You know, life itself is about making choices. I mean, every moment we're making choices and decisions about things. So Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, the most important choices we want to make in life are choices in regards to our highest well-being, our spiritual well-being. You know, it's all part of loving yourself, caring for yourself, you know, looking after your best self-interest, planning out your best future so that your life will be more meaningful and your destiny will be more beautiful. And according to, getting back to science, I mean, in regards to science, we should not lose our minds in the doctrines of modern science. You know, people and the leaders of this world have not yet really understood how to discriminate between the beneficial aspects of science and the unbeneficial aspects of science. You know, scientists, you know, everyone glorifies the scientists. You know, scientists are like our, what you call them, the 20th century priests. You know, everyone thinks that scientists are going to solve all the problems of the world. You know, science, they're going to, you know, eventually create a system by which we can live, not have to die. They're going to create, you know, we're going to find life on other planets. You know, they're sending these Sputniks into outer space. But, you know, really, what we should understand that, regretfully, they're also responsible for this very slickly packaged atheistic gospel which has covered the entire world. Yes. As a direct result, so many people think spirituality and religion has no real relevance to modern man. And any endeavor to create a society based on spiritual or religious principles is just denounced as completely ludicrous. You know, in the modern busy world of today, all things are measured according to their ability to increase material enjoyment. Therefore, you know, religion, spirituality, it's seen as a type of nuisance, you know, sentimental mythology with no ability to increase our standard of living. You know, these scientists, they unflinchingly declare that life is nothing more than a combination of chemicals. And the universe is simply a chemical conglomeration that just sustains itself only by chance. There's no creator. There's no one in charge. There's no higher intelligence. Everything's just going on by chance. So, you know, according to, you know, there's different schools of philosophy that have been created by the thinkers of this world to try and understand reality. And one of those systems of philosophy is called epistemology. You've probably heard of this, epistemology. So according to modern epistemology, for something to be accepted as a fact, it must survive the scientific method of observation, experimentation, and deriving a conclusion. However, there's no known observation of life coming from matter. Nor has there ever been any experiments that verify these assumptions given by these scientists. Although we can see millions of examples of life coming from life, can't we? Prabhupada talks about this many times he brings this point up. He's really puts these scientists in their place. Well, these mundane philosophical wranglers, he would call them. Every day we're seeing life come from life, millions of examples of life coming from life. Yet this life coming from life reality is condemned as sentimental and unscientific. I mean, the source of every living being is always another living being, isn't it? One life creates another. Matter never creates life. Even the famous test tube babies were just a result of a father and mother's combination. Yet they push these unproven theories to try and get us to believe they're atheistic theories. They teach us that in the beginning of the universe, that molecules evolved into primitive life forms and higher forms and finally man, along with numerous other species, which is totally going against what we're reading here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. They also declare there's no supreme controller, no master plan. It is said that in reality, no scientist can actually explain to the satisfaction of a thinking person the creation of this universe and how such harmony and regularity come into existence. No. You know, Prabhupada talks about this, how the movements of the planetary systems are so flawless. The sun and the moon perfectly maintain the lives of all living entities. Every year, winter follows autumn, autumn follows summer, summer follows spring, flowers come into bloom at certain times in certain fields. Such perfectly and finely balanced system. Even a slight disturbance by man causes severe environmental reactions. They're also trying to push these fantasies that a great explosion, this Big Bang, they call it the Big Bang Theory, caused the universe. There's this chunk, a chunk floating in space that exploded. And the universe came into existence from this exploding chunk. Prabhupada used to say, first we ask, Prabhupada, he said, we're not so foolish that we blindly accept these theories. Then he said, first we may ask, where did the chunk come from? Where did the chunk come from? And then we may ask, well, does order come out of chaos, ever come out of chaos? And they give the example that it's like saying there was an explosion in a printing factory, and somehow or other types all fell out in such a way that the Webster's Dictionary got printed. What are the chances? 1 in 20 billion. So why are these myths being manufactured and distributed? Does anyone know? Why are they distributing these facts and these myths? Huh? Ignorance. Yeah, out of ignorance. They're trying to destroy the necessities of us accepting there's a supreme Lord behind this creation. And they're trying to prove these theories of this atheistic theory that there is no one in control, that no one created anything, there is no God. Although they have no scientific evidence that refutes the existence of a supreme controller. They can't prove there is no God, yet they try and justify it through their myths and theories. But we see this, Krishna openly declares in Bhagavad Gita, because everything is born from me, I am the original source of everything. As we mentioned this, everything is under me, no one is above me, there is no ultimate supreme controller other than me. It was Krishna, wasn't it, who fathered all living entities. And when at the end of the creation, after the partial annihilation of the cosmos, everything goes into this suspended deep sleep and lies in like a little cloud in one corner of the universe. the Mahatattva. And at the time of creation, what happens is the Lord, he becomes the father of living entities because he casts his glance on the material nature and he impregnates all the living souls into the womb of the material nature who take up their respective positions in the various species of life. And he is the original source, therefore. Brahma, Shiva, all the demigods, the fountainhead of all incarnation, such as the boar incarnation. There's also some schools of philosophy propose that this world doesn't exist. You may have heard this, that the world is simply an illusion, a dream that we will one day wake up from, especially these voidists, and I know this Buddhists, these certain Buddhist schools, they teach this philosophy that through meditation one can ultimately understand that there is no soul, there's no universe, there's no God. And as long as we perceive such things, we suffer. So the goal of these meditators is a state of nothingness or voidness. No feelings, no emotions, no thoughts, just merging with, the Buddhists, sometimes they meditate on the sound of one hand clapping. They want to merge into the voidness or the nothingness called nirvana, in which all suffering ceases. Actually, one Maharaj was giving a class, Bhakti Charu Swami in Vrindavan. He was saying, actually, in the Vedas, there's one scripture that mentions that such persons who have this desire to merge into nothingness, to become like void, they can take birth as rocks in their next life. Apparently, some rocks have souls. And to take birth as a rock. And if they're very fortunate, they can, maybe take birth as a diamond, get up some light. I mean, this concept of oblivion or nothingness is attractive to some people, yet ultimately it's very illogical that everything arose from nothing and everything is nothing. In our Bhakti school of Krishna consciousness, we have another perspective. We consider both ourselves, the soul, the world around us, both real and divine, the creative energy of the Supreme Lord. But because this world and our life is just a temporary manifestation, we might call our experience of it kind of dreamlike. Actually the dream is just that we, the eternal souls, think we are this material body due to the influence of this powerful material energy. And of course, Prabhupada's mentioned here the impersonalists. Now they believe through meditation we'll understand that individual spiritual existence is an illusion. As Prabhupada mentions here, for them the Supreme Lord exists, but not as a person, but as an impersonally effulgent white light that they call Brahman, which they believe is the original source of everything. And they believe that when one reaches a state of total enlightenment, what happens is the individual soul just merges into the existence of the impersonal effulgence and becomes God, becomes the Supreme. Loses his individuality. So this philosophy of impersonalism it's also incredibly illogical. Obviously, we can never become God. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us God means the controller of all living beings. No one is equal to God. No one is greater than God. So Krishna, he declares in Bhagavad Gita, he himself is the supreme individual person, and all of us are eternal individual souls, or fragmental parts and parcels of him. We never lose our individuality. Even after we gain liberation, we don't merge with him. We retain our individuality. We we take on our spiritual forms in the spiritual world to serve him directly in our spiritual bodies out of pure love. Actually, in the Krishnadas Kaviraj, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he states that impersonalists who depend upon their poor fund of knowledge and morbid speculative habits, without service and surrender, they cannot penetrate into this mysterious region of transcendence, where the Supreme takes on the form of a transcendental person, free from all material tinges. He says, discovering the mystery of the Supreme Lord eliminates the impersonal feature realized by common spiritualists who are simply trying to enter the spiritual region from the mundane platform. So Krishna, he tells us in Bhagavad Gita, he doesn't reveal himself to people who are envious, people who are not devotees of his. He only reveals himself to his devotees. And the others, despite their efforts, they cannot possibly understand his transcendental personality. I mean, besides our narrow-minded scientists, we also have our unbiased scientists who can see without much difficulty the logic and perfection of spiritually based sciences, how it gives clear and perfect conception of reality. You know, in our present years, we have a group of Hare Krishna scientists. We've got Hare Krishna scientists in our movement, and they've established the Bhaktivedanta Institute. And they have slowly but successfully began to open the eyes of many, many scientists now throughout the world through their preaching endeavors. You know, they hold these big conventions, and they personally invite scientists from all over the world to come and discuss topics like consciousness and trying to find a reconciliation between science and religion. So these devotee scientists with scholarly arguments and logic, which make use of, you could say, modern scientific understanding, they've introduced the reality of the absolute truth to the academic world. And these Vedic literatures, they actually contain full explanations of all scientific disciplines and scientific information that is even far beyond the limits of the modern brains of this world. So using simple logic, I mean, we can understand that anything that is manufactured is deliberately planned and controlled. So why do scientists dare suppose that they call it the greatest technological invention, this material universe, and all the living entities residing in this universe, how it manifested out of nothingness by chance? Yes. They do this to make people habituated to think that there is no Supreme Lord. Yes. So, now these Vedic books translated by Srila Prabhupada will occupy a very significant place, it is said, in the intellectual, cultural, and spiritual lives of modern man for a long time to come. And yes, even not just devotees are saying that, but people in the highly intelligent intellectuals of the world who are studying these books by Prabhupada are saying that these books can guide modern man to higher levels of understanding and performance. Does anyone have any questions? Quick question. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Okay, Hare Krishna.